So high mortgages, just one of several financial challenges many young people are facing nationwide. The economic landscape is getting so discouraging. A survey conducted earlier this year found over half the respondents between the ages of 24 and 35 don't expect to do better financially than their parents. So Suzanne Woolley is a personal finance writer at Bloomberg, and she's been covering this topic, and she's here with us in Studio 57 to discuss. I'm glad you're here. You know, one of the things that we had just been talking about is that it really seems like every younger generation says, there's no way I'm going to be able to get the house that my parents got or whatever. So what's different about this generation of young people?
I feel like this generation has entered into the workforce with so much influx. COVID, I mean, we have high inflation. There's all this talk about Social Security running out of money. Few people who are young today can look forward to having any sort of pension like our parents did. I mean, a lot of boomers got pensions, however small they might be. But there's sort of those basic constructs that you can't count on anymore. So I think that makes you feel more fragile financially. I mean,
yeah, but so here's the thing, right? Oftentimes, the generations following the boomers, meaning everybody else, Gen X and Gen Z and Y and millennials, are actually earning more in some cases than their parents ever did.
True.
They earn more dollars. But if you look back at the boomers and the greatest generation, these were teachers and electricians and folks who worked at the Ford auto plant in Detroit, who not only owned their homes, but also had a little cottage in Seagirt, New Jersey, and were able to send their kids to colleges where they were able to not take on student loans to pay for those colleges for their children. So the question becomes, what's changed? You make more, but everything else costs more, and those things are unattainable now.
And you don't, I mean, many young people can't possibly afford to save for a down payment for a house right now. And I mean, with mortgage rates going up and there's scarcity of inventory, there's just not much that's affordable. And that's been like a big way, as we know, of building wealth, having that home so that you aren't like subject to the whims of rent, which can go up and up and up. So that basic sort of building block of wealth, I feel like is going to be gone for a number of generations, which is concerning.
So we gave like a sort of an age group, but I mean, everyone in that age group is not making the same amount of money, you're living in the same place. So is this a general feeling across the board, or is it different depending on, I don't know, what you make maybe?
I mean, it's different depending on, they looked at gender, age, race, and income. And men are generally more confident than women about their financial futures.
There's probably a good reason for that.
You can talk about it. I mean, I think sort of sometimes men are overly confident in their investing behavior and women are just more realistic.
Right.
That's just me. But as you'd expect, you know, higher income workers feel that it's more likely that they will achieve a financial life as good as their parents, about like 60% or so. But when you look at people who are making less than $50,000 in income, just I think 34% of them think they'll do better than their parents financially. So it drops. I mean, the income, unsurprisingly, is where you see a lot of the differences.
But also our parents, and this may be a generalization, but because the financial situation in this country has changed over time, our parents didn't obsess over clothing, brand names, and buying. You know, this is not everybody, but everybody's got a $1,000 cell phone in their pocket, sometimes two. Everybody has a flat screen television. Yes, a telephone in those days was a telephone that you connected to your wall. A TV, if you got color, I remember even in the 70s, having a color TV was like a big deal. And those things were like humongous, right? It was a piece of furniture.
Back then, we were trying to keep up with the Joneses, which were literally the people who lived on our street. Now we're trying to keep up with the Kardashians. Which can definitely make you feel like you're running in place financially.
Exactly. So we're spending, our disposable income is going towards things that those previous generations did not spend their money on. And even if they're still around today, still yell at us for spending our disposable income on.
I mean, we didn't look at Instagram and say, oh my gosh, all my peers are in Positano looking fabulous. You know, we didn't even have the idea that should be possibly an expected thing I should be able to afford. So I think the expectations of younger generations have kind of been warped by social media.
So part of this is actually how far your dollar goes, and the other part is just how you feel. If if you feel like you're sort of falling behind. So then what advice can young people use in terms of their finances that maybe their parents didn't have to worry about?
Student loan debt is such a big part of the landscape for young adults. And educating yourself on the various ways you can handle that is really important, like the income-based repayment plan. If you're really struggling, if it's a federal loan, student loan, you can get a sort of income-based repayment plan that will be, workable with what you're making.
Yeah.
And that's important because to default on a student loan has a lot of unhappy tax implications. They can keep your tax refund, et cetera. But I think one really basic, and this applied to our parents too, is a lot of us don't have a great sense of where our money is really going. We're tapping with our phone, we have all these subscription services that we're paying for. There's no friction to spending now.
There's one
our
thing.
parents had to write checks and carry money.
Yes,
I'll tell you,
that's such a
Suzanne,
good
and
phrase.
everybody,
Friction.
I have a piece of advice for people watching because this happened to me. If you're an Apple user, go into your subscriptions and look at the number of things that you subscribe to, whether they are streaming channels or because you will say, wait, I'm still paying $10.99 for this thing that I never tapped on once. I had that with the mindfulness. app.
Yes, me too.
Yeah,
that same one.
I was like, I haven't used this in like a year. And I'm like, wait, they're still charging me $100 a year. So like, if you just one little thing that people can do to figure out like where their money is going, because I hope my wife isn't watching because she would.
Yeah, she would lose it. Yeah, your wife knows exactly where every penny's
I got
going.
rid of all those apps. Suzanne, it's so great to have you.
Oh,
thank you very much.
So good to be here.
Great conversation.